Sir, what are you doing sitting here? What's in the case?
I'm waiting for my wife. What does it look like I'm doing?
I need to know what's inside.
You blind? It's a guitar box. What else would be in it?
Open the box right now or you're going to be arrested.
You serious? It's a guitar.
A security guard saw a black man sitting quietly in a hospital lobby with a guitar case at his feet. No threatening behavior, no suspicious movement, no reason whatsoever to feel unsafe. He called 911 anyway, and because of that one phone call, driven entirely by bias and absolutely nothing else, Memorial Hospital would end up paying $920,000. A security guard would lose his career, and a professional musician would become the face of a civil rights case that changed hospital security protocols across an entire region. Drop a comment right now. Where are you watching from? And if you believe a black man should be able to sit in a hospital lobby without police being called on him, hit subscribe, because this story gets worse before it gets better. Victor Ellison was 42 years old, a professional session musician who had spent 2 decades playing on albums for artists whose names you would recognize. Grammy-nominated records, major label sessions, studio work across 3 states. That Thursday afternoon, he was doing something completely ordinary, waiting in a hospital lobby while his wife Angela finished a cardiology appointment upstairs. He had his vintage 1968 Martin D28 guitar with him, worth $12,000. Just picked up from a luthier who had spent 3 weeks restoring it. He was not leaving that in a parking lot. He sat in a chair near the east wall, phone in hand, legs crossed, completely relaxed. He had been there about 25 minutes when security guard Michael Brennan walked past. Brennan stopped about 15 feet away and stared. He watched Victor scroll through his phone, watched him adjust the guitar case so it was not blocking the aisle, watched him do absolutely nothing, threatening for 2 full minutes. Then Brennan walked to the security office and dialed 911. This is Michael Brennan, security at Memorial Hospital. I have a suspicious individual in the main lobby, black male, mid-40s, sitting alone with a large case. The case could contain a weapon. The dispatcher asked if the individual had made any threats. No, but he has been sitting there for a while just watching people. 7 minutes later, 2 uniformed officers walked through the front entrance. Have you ever been treated like a threat for doing absolutely nothing? Type yes or no in the comments right now. Officers Doyle and Rollins walked directly toward Victor, hands near their weapons. Victor looked up and felt his stomach drop, because he had been black in America long enough to know what that walk meant. Sir, we need you to open that case right now. Excuse me, it is a guitar. I am waiting for my wife. Open it now, or you will be arrested for obstruction. Victor looked at both officers. He felt the weight of the moment, the humiliation, the anger, the exhaustion of being treated like a criminal for sitting in a chair. He reached down and unlatched the case. Inside was a beautiful vintage Martin guitar. Amberwood, fresh strings, unmistakable craftsmanship. The officers stared at it. Victor looked up. It is a guitar, like I said. Now can someone explain why police were called on me for sitting in a hospital lobby? Brennan stepped forward, arms crossed, voice defensive. I was just doing my job. You looked suspicious. You can never be too careful. Victor pulled out his phone and started recording. What was suspicious? Tell me exactly what I did. Brennan had no answer. The hospital supervisor, Karen Mitchell, arrived within minutes. One look at the open guitar case, the 2 officers, and the crowd of watching visitors, and her face went pale. She tried to handle it quietly. Victor refused. We are not doing this privately. I want everyone in this lobby to hear what I am about to say. He looked at Brennan, then at the officers, then at Karen. I am a professional musician. I have played on Grammy-nominated albums. That guitar is worth $12,000. I came here to wait for my wife and I was threatened with arrest because your security guard could not. Imagine a black man with a case being anything but dangerous. Then the elevator doors opened across the lobby and Angela Ellison stepped out. She took one look at the scene, her husband, the officers, the crowd, and crossed the lobby in seconds. Victor, what happened? They called the police on me for sitting here with my guitar. Angela turned to Brennan and her voice went cold. You did what? She pulled up Victor's professional website on her phone and held it up. He has played with John Legend. He has played with Alicia Keys. He is a session musician for major labels. That guitar in that case is worth more than your monthly salary, and you treated him like a criminal. Then she made a call. Marcus, it is Angela. We need you at Memorial Hospital right now. Victor was racially profiled and police were called. We need an attorney. Do you think the hospital knew about Brennan's history? Drop your answer below. When Victor's attorney Marcus Reed requested Brennan's personnel file, what he found turned a bad situation into a catastrophic one for the hospital. Brennan had 3 prior formal complaints, all 3 from black visitors. A black doctor visiting a colleague followed through the building and demanded to show credentials. A black woman visiting her mother in the ICU asked for identification, even though policy did not require it. A black man waiting for his son in physical therapy approached and questioned about why he was there. All 3 complaints were documented. All 3 resulted in nothing more than a verbal warning. The hospital had a paper trail proving they knew, and they did nothing. Marcus Reed looked at Victor across the conference table. They documented the pattern and ignored it. That is not just negligence. That is deliberate indifference. We are filing a federal lawsuit. The case was indefensible, and everyone knew it. Security footage showed Victor sitting peacefully for 25 minutes before Brennan called 911. The dispatch recording captured Brennan describing Victor as suspicious, based on nothing. The personnel file showed 3 prior complaints that had been dismissed, and Victor had recorded Brennan on his phone saying the quiet part out loud. You looked suspicious. I did not recognize you. The hospital settled for $920,000 within 8 months. Michael Brennan was fired. No other hospital would hire him once the reason for his termination became public record. He ended up working night shifts at a shopping mall for half his previous salary. The settlement also required mandatory bias training for all security staff, an independent review process for profiling complaints, clear written protocols that security could not call police without documented threatening behavior, and quarterly audits of incident reports to identify discriminatory patterns. 3 other hospitals in the region conducted their own internal reviews after the case went public. 2 other security guards with similar complaint histories were terminated. Victor used part of the settlement to establish a music education fund, providing instruments and lessons to underprivileged youth. He continued his career, continued his advocacy, and continued playing that vintage Martin guitar on recording sessions. He never got an apology from Michael Brennan, but he got something more important: accountability, reform, and a settlement that sent a message to every hospital and every security company in the country. Racial profiling has consequences, and those consequences are expensive. What is your biggest takeaway from this story? Drop it below. A guitar case is not a weapon. Sitting quietly in a hospital lobby is not a crime. And institutions that document bias but refuse to act will eventually pay a price far greater than the cost of simply doing the right thing. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe if you have not already. See you in the next one.